Another thing is the hammers in the lock. Don't mess with the bent on the hammer unless you have to. This is the hammer, shall we say, back of the hammer. Don't mess with this unless you have to. Usually you can correct the pull on the trigger, on the sear. Now, if you can't get the pull right by working on the sear, as a last resort, then go to work on the sear of the bent on the hammer. And what you have to do in this case is the angle on this is not acute enough. So all you have to do is make that angle more acute. In other words, we take more metal off the top and just alter the angle. That should do the trick. But that's only a last resort. Don't always try and work on the sear. Now, another thing is, if you have to spend too much time, a lot of time altering the trigger pull, and you've been working on it, and you take too much. If you take too much metal off the sear, the nose of the sear, you'll get into all other kinds of problems. Now, what happens if you alter the nose of the sear and you shorten it? What will happen is the hammer will not. You've shortened the nose of the sear, and what happens? Because you've shortened the nose of the sear, the hammer doesn't go so far back when it's cocked. This is the hammer, shall we say? It's not so far back in the cocked position because you've removed metal from the nose of the sear. Now that affects a lot of other things. It shortens the travel of where the striker comes through the face of the action. It shortens the amount of travel of this striker or firing pin, and you can get misfires because you haven't got enough travel. You've got less force of blow because you've got less travel. Because down here, shall we say, in this gun, you've got the mainspring. You've got the mainspring there, and because you've shortened metal from here, the hammer is not so far back when it's cocked, and also this spring is not so compressed so much, so you're losing force of blow. You can get misfires, and not only that. At the front of the action here, I'll show this one. You've got your cocking lever. That's this little thing here, or things here. These little things in the knuckle here, cocking levers. Now, because you've shortened the sear too much, what happens? The hammer goes forward, the spring is less compressed, and the cocking lever, which would be down here somewhere, down below the mainspring, is not. In other words, what happens? It takes a different position. It doesn't matter so much with a non-ejector gun. But with an ejector gun, because the cocking levers operate the ejectors, you cannot get a situation where the gun ejects a live case. Every time you open the gun, you'll get it. It'll it'll click and operate and throw out a live case. So a lot of things can go wrong by shortening a sear too much. I've seen it done quite often. Now, one particular make of gun that's really renowned for going wrong in that direction and throwing a live case out every time is a Webley. If you get hold of a Webley gun and you alter the pull, you don't need very much before that cocking lever takes a different higher position and it picks up every time and throws a live case. Now, if you do shorten a sear too much and haven't got enough travel on the hammer, the way to get around that is to lengthen the nose of the sear. Now, what I can do, because this is a new sear, hasn't been used, and it doesn't matter if I ruin it. I'll try and show you how to draw one out to get that bit extra length. You don't have to get much, probably less than a 16th, probably a 32nd would be enough to get extra length. So what you do, hold the end of the sear in pliers. Get the thing good and red, probably redder than I've got it, and start hammering at the back of this curved part, well towards the back. If you don't go too far forward, because if you work too far forward, you'll be thinning the thing down at where you need thickness. Well, so if you just hammer in this one particular place, you'll extend the nose of that sear, and you should get enough extra length to put that lack of travel and force of blow correct. And of course, you'll have to re-harden and temper the sear, but the place to sears like that, I think the plate, there's the hole. The place to start hammering is just here, at about this point, well towards the back. And because you've got more thickness here, if you start hammering here, it's not already thin, and you'll be thinning it out even more. If it gets too thin, if that thing got very, very thin, then it could easily bend or even break off after you've rehardened it. So that's why you need to hammer there so you can keep more thickness through the front end. Okay? Now, as I say, and if you do get ejector problems, through shortening the sear too much, you can always draw the sear out like that, and that'll correct your ejector problems, because you're putting back metal where you need it. Don't get don't get welding done except as a last resort. I don't like welding on sears, I never did, but as a last resort you can get some weld put on which will harden and temper and do it that way.